Waiting for the magic button. Right. Hi everyone. It's Kate from Sleep Time Consulting back. It's day number 4. Whenever I do these weeks, I'm always like, oh yeah, there's lots to get through. And then suddenly I'm like, oh my God, it's Friday tomorrow. So it's incredible. So thank you for coming on this journey with me. It's been incredible to sort of share all the knowledge and get the kind of the messages and the questions. So if you've got anything you need to ask, then please do pop it in the group. I'm going to be putting up a Q&A session for tomorrow. So what I'll probably do is put a Q&A box up, ask me anything there, and I'll either answer it live in a session or get back to you within the box tomorrow. So that's going to happen. That's the next stage. And tomorrow we're talking about other bits and bobs. So anything I haven't covered that you want me to cover, so do let me know. And then also about things like regressions and illnesses and teething, troubleshooting kind of bits and bobs to help sort of finalize. So after today, my thought is that you should have the building blocks for everything. And then it's those niggly little things that I might not have covered along the journeys. It's really important you do that. But firstly, today, I want to tell you that I have an amazing option for you. If you are still a bit confused or you know what you need to do and you need a bit more support through it. So I run one-to-one services. I help people's hand through it. But I also know that those services are quite expensive. And so what I've done over the last year is I've created my online sleep school. So this is the paid version of Sleep School, and it's a lot more help in terms of personalized help. Every month I take 10 families into a private Facebook group and I coach them through their sleep issues, and I send out a questionnaire. So I get to know you and your little one. I get to know the issues that you're having. I get to know your routine. I send out a kind of an advice, a level of advice to help you get back on track. So I tell you exactly what you need to do. I allow you access to my online course, which means you can refer to that at any point and you have that access to that forever. And then you have 2 weeks of me. So starting next Friday, every day, I'm going to be in that group. I'm going to be running live sessions to help coach you through it. We'll do 3 of those. And every day you'll get the option to ask me questions and kind of navigate through. So it's normally £95, but I'm discounting it by £20 for anyone who's been in the 5-day sleep school this week, the free version, because I want to give you the best option of getting your sleep back on track. So if you're interested, the link is up there in the comments, and I'll be sending that out as well, and I'll be posting in the group. But you need to use the code 20 off, so 20 off, to get the £20 off. Fairly straightforward, isn't it? So yeah, just space for 10 families though. That's really important. So these sell out quite often. I've been doing them for a year and a half, and they're definitely one of the best value things you can do to get your sleep back on track. It's not just an online course, it's more than that, and I'm really proud of what I've created, and I want to help you guys to get your sleep back on track. But that's not all that we're talking about today. We are obviously talking about daytime, but firstly I'll just mention that 8 o'clock this evening, we're going to be talking to the amazing Lisa from Start With Wisdom. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I became a mum, it was a while ago, I sort of lost any energy for shopping. And I just got a bit lost. And Lisa offers some amazing services, but she's just an inspiration as well in terms of just giving you confidence. Like I bought this dress. I bought it on my own. It wasn't one that she recommended, but I bought this dress and I would never have bought these colours before. And I feel that she's given me the confidence to do that. So if you need a bit of brightness, a bit of scamp and do, which is what this is, in your life, then please do come and join us at 8 o'clock for a chat. But that's tonight. The links will be in the group. I think they're already in the group, and I've sent them on email. But we're going to talk about daytime. We must talk about daytime because that's what we're here to do, isn't it? So daytime is one of those, I suppose, often kind of mystery things that people get a bit kind of obsessed about. Sorry, the bin men are just outside the window, and obviously the window's open because it's hot. So if you can hear them, apologies. I'm sure they'll be on soon. Bless them. So yeah, daytime is can be stressful, and I want to take that stress away. That is my aim of the chat today. Let's remove the stress from daytime. Let's try and step back and just build your own framework. Like with everything I think I've spoken about, this is about your journey and your pattern of sleep. So make sure that you're considering that. And anything I'm talking about, again, if you disagree, you're very welcome to, and very welcome to help me understand why I might be saying something you don't agree with. If I have these nuggets of information that have like light bulb moment for you, I would love to know if that's helped you change your behavior around sleep. So daytime is really important, but the most important thing about daytime is that the sleep happens. So how it happens for me is just kind of a longer term consideration. If you are looking to improve your 24-hour pattern of sleep, I think the first most important thing is to look at what's happening at bedtime, then considering what's happening at nighttime, and then you can do all those things at the same time, and then perhaps focusing even more on daytime. And the reason for that is that daytime feels what happens in the night. So don't feel that your daytime needs to be perfect. And I'll just give you a watch out that actually sometimes daytime can take about 4 to 6 weeks to get back on track. So just bear that in mind, take your pressure off, and make sure that you're appreciating your own journey. Now, the balance of naps with your little one is really important. And this comes down to kind of the way that I approach things. So my approach is based on understanding your little one's awake time. Now, there are recommendations, which I have shared already in the group. If you haven't seen it, my sleep needs guide that I very much enjoyed creating because it looks bit visually nicer than the old page document that I used to have. Now that will give you the guide roughly for your little one's age. And so that will tell you the zone that your child is, you know, I mean, on average, that's what they're in, but it's just a guide. So we look at how long your child can stay awake for before needing to sleep again. And that varies dramatically by age, because you know a newborn can stay awake for like 45 minutes to an hour, and that includes feeding, whereas if you get up to kind of more like 14 15 months, you're talking about closer to sort of 5 or 6 hours. So have a look, and then I would suggest you observe your child, because they can be all different. I was talking to a client whose little one is sleeping through the night, which is awesome. But they have a 7-month-old, and their awake time is still only about 2.5 hours. And we were talking about it as in, is it right? And I was like, well, he's doing really well. You don't need to change it, because normally you would sort of say that should be a little bit longer at that age, but we don't need to alter things unless you do. So have a look, watch your child, observe their tired signs. And I often sort of talk about saying, okay, if you've got a tired sign appear, maybe wait for the second one and then act on it. It does vary by child, but if you're struggling with sleep, if you're finding they're not quite tired enough to go down, just maybe wait for that second sign of tiredness before popping them down. Now, we have like the awake times to guide us, but we also have the sleep needs as well. And so that chart that I mentioned, and I'll tag it again and make sure it's up there in the announcements and in the guide section, is there to give you a guide on how much sleep they need in the day, because that again massively varies. You can go from a kind of a little one of about 5 months old who'll need about perhaps 3.5 hours sleep in the day, to a kind of a 10-month-old who'll only need 2.5, and that kind of stays fairly static for a few months at that age. So you need to kind of get the zone that your little one's in. And to understand, because as again I'll say that they can all be different, you need to know that they can do okay on less sleep and they can do okay on more sleep. So again, it's about what your child's showing you. Are they happy in the day? Are they well rested? Are they able to settle for their naps? Are they able to settle for bedtime? Because a child that's not had enough sleep in the day might be a bit grizzly, might be a bit difficult to settle, especially at bedtime. One that's had too much sleep in the day can resist the naps, resist bedtime, because they're just not tired enough, and it can often cause waking. So understand the zone that your little one's in to help them be in the best place for sleep during the day. So refer to the guide and make sure that you've got that as a kind of an option for you. So when it comes to naps, and we've identified the time that you might be looking for naps, so you have this kind of idea of, right, my child wakes at 7 o'clock, let's be optimistic, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I know that they have a 3-hour-ish awake time. I've worked it out. So you will have to kind of understand that at that time, your child will need a nap. Now, it's worth bearing in mind, and a lot more conversations happening at the moment about being able to get out and about and be able to make sure that you're doing things, you're seeing people, because we've had a bit of a tough time, haven't we? Which I think is absolutely possible, but I think it's always worth remembering your child's sleep needs, and not saying override that with any commitments you might have, but consider it. So, for example, if you're going to meet your friends for coffee, brilliant, but maybe go half an hour earlier and do the walk there if you can, and get your little one to sleep in the buggy and be restful and sleepy when your little one is on the way there, so that you can cover that nap at that point. That is one way of doing it, so that you're actually making sure that your child settles well and that can sleep for a decent amount of time. So yeah, make sure you consider all of that when it's part of your framework of the day. And I mean, I'd suggest also that when you're looking at practicing naps, perhaps think about having one nap a day at home. The rest of the naps, I mean, you could have them on the go. If you've got a child that's got lots of naps, then maybe you can have that one at home, and then the other two, or however many you might have, could be out and about, could be in the sling. And the reason I say that is that sometimes naps can be stressful, and so if you have perhaps the third nap of the day, which is often the hardest one to do, if you have that at home, if you have that in your arms, if you have it in a sling, then sometimes that can just take the pressure off you as well. And I suppose also, if you've got a child that's only on one nap a day, then you might just want to, it's not vital it's at home, it's not vital that it's in the car, it's just vital that it happens. So don't worry about the location of the naps. Just be confident that your child knows how to settle in their own sleep space, and make sure they know it. But let's imagine a world whereby you're settling your child down for a sleep at home. So you'd be considering the timing, and then looking at what we call like a wind down towards a nap time. So it's like a mini bedtime routine. So try and not go from something super active into like just plonk them down for a nap. Think about navigating your way through into that nap time. And so that could look like doing a little bit of a song or a story before nap, or you could be just changing them into comfy clothes. But I would make sure that your nap environment is dark, really dark as you can get it. So we're looking at kind of blackout blinds, as I've recommended before, to get that environment. Put the white noise on. Sleep signals that are similar to your bedtime routine are really brilliant. And then you're looking to settle. You're looking to settle your little one down to sleep. Now, in terms of how to do this, I would follow some of the settling process. And we talked about settling on the first day. Was it the first day? Second day. And so we talked about the different options of settling your little one. I would say that sometimes in nap times, we find that actually little ones find it harder to settle. So you might find that you need to kind of help them a little bit more. And if you see that the nap is taking a bit longer to settle than you like, then maybe if it's over half an hour, it's probably worth just helping them to sleep. And that goes back to my earlier comment about actually the most important thing is how your little one sleeps versus the most important thing is that they sleep versus how they sleep. So if you've got to like half an hour or so, then just help them to settle. So you can give this settling process a go, whether you're using like a pick up, put down process, whether it's a gradual retreat, and you can encourage them to settle in that way. But after half an hour, just let them have it. So that's kind of the most important thing about settling. And then we get on to kind of different issues around naps. Now, the most common thing that I get asked about is short naps. So there are a couple of reasons for short naps. They can be down to not enough sleep pressure, so your child hasn't been awake for long enough. So to analyze that would be a child that probably wakes up and is happy. So they've woken up from their nap and they're like, okay, I'm ready to go now. And that's probably that they've had enough sleep for how tired they were. So you want to probably increase the amount of time they're awake for before going for them going down for the nap. Then secondary to that, sometimes it's that they're too overtired going down. So at that point, what you would do is you would probably decrease the amount of awake time, because you perhaps push them into that sort of overtired state and they find it a little bit hard to settle. And then lastly, we kind of look at what's going on with the settling and the environment, because sometimes with a short nap, you find that they're not able to go through the sleep cycles. They are struggling to help them to sleep for longer because they're very dependent on it to settle. So look at what's happening with the settling and the environment. Now, my favorite way of dealing with a short nap is trying to think about what's causing it, so the kind of the issues that I've talked about, but then rushing straight in and getting your little one to resettle. Because if you can do that and practice that over a few days, then often it will just stretch out and it'll mean that they're able to sleep for longer on their own naturally, whilst you're working on the actual cause of the short nap. This is one of the most common things that I talk about in my troubleshooting calls. So these are like the half-an-hour calls that I have, and they're there to kind of pick out the kind of the potential issues and to help you understand what you might need to do to change the short nap situation. And then when it comes to kind of other approaches, you can go down the leaving them to cry for a little bit, see if that helps, or you can do a wake to sleep option. So that wake to sleep option is, I sort of discussed it, I think, with Early Rising yesterday, is to say they wake after half an hour, go in after sort of 20 minutes, and sort of slightly rouse them to a state of wakefulness, and then get them to go back to sleep again. And you're sort of tricking the body into going back to sleep. That's the option with that one. Wake to sleep is a funny one, but it can work quite well for naps actually. So I would consider that in what you're going. Now, those are kind of naps at home. If you're on the go, I would really encourage you to create a dark environment as well. So I don't know if you've seen something like the Snooze Shade. They're awesome. If you are interested in a Snooze Shade, then I'll put a post up. I've got a discount code of 10% off all the Snooze Shade products, and I've got one to give away as well. So I am going to launch a competition, so I'm very excited about doing that. So I will be doing that within the group just to reward everyone who's been taking part. So yeah, I will I'll be posting about that. But they're brilliant to create the kind of the environment that is as dark as possible. They're breathable UV protective fabric, and so you can go out, especially in like a day like today, and you know, kind of what we've had over the last week and what's to come. You want to make sure that your little one's in a dark environment to sleep, and also they're protected from the sun. So putting a Snooze Shade on will help you to do that. So having Snooze Shade whilst you're napping on the go, brilliant idea. They're a fantastic invention. So well done to Snooze Shade, Cara and the team. So from a nap point of view, I think that's kind of everything I wanted to talk about. Let me just sort of go over the key kind of points. So one of the key things is to understand your child's awake time, so how long they can stay awake before they need to sleep again, then how much sleep they need in the day, then thinking about creating this kind of framework. It can be a bit movable because they won't wake up at the same time every day, obviously. And then think about when those naps are going to happen, where you're going to be, how you're going to facilitate the nap, whether it's at home or about, making sure you're creating a good environment. So dark, white noise if you're at home, comfy clothing to sleep in, and then helping them to settle in the best way possible, also independently as possible if you need to encourage that. And then, yeah, getting them to sleep. And if they wake up after a short amount of time, then get them to go back to sleep. And hopefully within time, when you're working on this sort of stuff, it will help them to elongate their naps. But naps are, like I say, very frustrating, but they can switch around. And suddenly one day you're like, oh my God, it's all better. So I would encourage you to consider it. But that's it from today. So thank you for joining me. If you join me live, thanks for watching on the recording. Don't forget about the next sleep school. I've only got those 10 spots and only got the discount code for you guys who have signed up for the sleep school. So I'm very happy to offer that to you. But let me know if you've got any questions on naps. I can't see any comments that have come in so far. So I will I will end the video there and share it with you later. If I haven't answered your question, then I will get back to you later on. But thank you very much for joining me. Have a lovely rest of afternoon, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.